Yes, these fans are great. And speaking of wrestlers coming through there, Kevin Owens comes out and stops halfway down the entranceway. And I think, oh, he's milking it. The crowd reaction, the music and everything. He waited forever. And then he just stood there and waited for Orton. Was he overcome with emotion from his French ancestors, or what was the... It wasn't as pretentious an entrance as I would think Owens would be doing. He was just kind of standing there. He wasn't firing him up or anything. He was taking in the moment, I guess.
Do the French consider the French Canadians to just be, like their cousins? Like, it is another country. It's another land. They speak the same language, but...
Well, maybe is it like one of those...
There are plenty of jerks that speak English.
Well, yeah, that's why is it one of those deals like, we don't want to be associated with those fucking French Canadian motherfuckers. They're fake French.
We don't know.
We don't know. I'll tell you what, they don't put much fucking ice in the drinks up there, I'll tell you that. And then here came Orton, and the people sang his song in English. And they actually were able to carry a tune. He was a megastar to them. I mean, it started out that way. And then here comes Solo and Tama Tonga, and they're going to have the tag team match, and they just jump into a four-way and go to the floor and get a fight. Here come the referees and the agents and chaos and security. And the people were loving this because they don't see shit. Now they got the chaos, right?
They were going nuts.
Yes. And Aldous comes out and says, if you can't obey the rules, then it's a no disqualification street fight. But it wasn't lazy booking, because that got an incredible pop. And in a situation, this is where you give it to them. You got the biggest house you've ever drawn. You've got a big show on television, pay-per-view, streaming, whatever. You got a hot crowd. Drop the cow. Give them the fucking show, right? Can you imagine, not only for the people in France, but how could the people here would have taken this match if they didn't see something like it not done as well? This was very good. They kept up the idea of a fight. Their shit was stiff. It wasn't silly. It wasn't stupid dangerous. But they still did the goddamn, furniture fight and everything, just at a higher level. And it not only would have torn the house down in France, which it did, but it also would have had more meaning to the viewers here in the United States, at least, maybe Canada, whatever, if they didn't see shit like this constantly done not as well, less good, whatever the metric is. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense. Again, virgin territory. They don't have AEW going to be there next week or something.
But there's also the difference between virgin territory and the Whore of Babylon. So
there's a big difference between the virgin territory and the Whore of Babylon.
Yes, can we?
There's a lot of branches of the Long Island Railroad in between those two stops.
Boy, howdy! I'll tell you what, train after train has gone through that tunnel.
Ronkonkoma.
You can't go once a year with a street fight, but you can't, like the same thing with the backstage assaults. You can't have 3 in a show or 4 a week or whatever. It just diminishes what the people who have this called for it. There was an issue, there was a crowd, there was a gate, there was remuneration. You're not building Lyon, France for a return house next month. Give them the blow off. Right? This is where it works, and it would have worked on television even better if we didn't see so much like it done more poorly. But, they did do the furniture, but not to a ridiculous degree. But people had to fall through the tables. They got good heat on Owens at one point. Then Orton had a big comeback. Then they stopped him, but he hit the RKO out of nowhere on the desk. And they, at one point, you can't control Owens from his demons. So at one point he hit Tama Tonga with 4 chairs, a total of 6 times, and then set up the chairs. So he ended up brainbustering him through the chairs. That, was needless in my opinion, because somebody could be fucked up. But the place went batshit. And Owens covers him, and the referee gets pulled out by another guy, and it's Tama Tonga's brother, Tonga Loa. Now, if it's Tama Tonga's brother, shouldn't his last name be Tonga and his first name be Loa? Or is he a Loa Tonga and the other one's a higher Tonga?
Well, the other interesting thing is when Haku was in the Islanders, his tag team partner, the Tonga Kid's name was Tama.
So are you in?
And he's that's in real life, that's what Fatu? One of the Fatus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you trying to say that Haku's children are illegitimate?
That's not what I'm saying in any way.
Well, that sounds like it.
What I'm saying is,
you're blaming the Tonga Kid.
I'm not blaming it. There's no blame.
The Tonga of the Loa.
I applied no blame for any reason. There's no reason for blame. I'm simply playing the name game, not the blame game.
Shirley, Boo Burley, Banana Fan. Chuck, Bo Buck, Banana Fana.
Yeah.
Let's do Stan. Okay, so anyway, Paul E. was shocked and amazed by that the brother came in, and the new guy hit Randy Orton with the stairs, and Solo spiked Owens and pinned him 1, 2, 3. And again, I said, great fight and the right place to do it, and they kept it serious, etc., etc. But where's Jacob Fatu? Can you imagine the day? Because I mean, Tama Tonga, he looks good. He's in good shape. This guy, okay. But this is like giving us the garnish and the parsley, and we need the fucking sizzle and the steak.
Well, two things. One, so far we were hit with 2 surprises expecting Jacob Fatu. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. By the way, both guys, specifically Tama Tonga, because he's been there longer, were kind of not thought of as highly as some of the other guys in New Japan. Look at how well he's been used since he got to WWE. Who's a bigger star now?
Well, and the thing also is Tama Tonga helps Solo because Solo's still green, and you can tell that Tama Tonga is more experienced and a little more smooth and can maybe help him along. But go ahead.
And I like the energy he's giving off, where he's just like this crazy guy that, you know, he rams cars into Kevin Owens' car and he, you know, is out there just starting fights. We don't know when they're going to do Jacob Fatu, but the other thing is, we also don't know if Jacob Fatu's past may prohibit him from traveling overseas.
Ah, yes. Well, no, but France, they'll take anybody, won't they?
But now everyone's sitting here waiting for Jacob Fatu. I mean, now it's kind of a...
Well, but actually, no, we are, and people in the know are, but the wider general audience isn't waiting for him because they don't have a fucking clue that he's there or he's coming.
And again, Roman has to come back somehow. And if we're led to believe he's coming back as a babyface, or even if he's coming back as a heel and they're doing some weird heel versus heel bloodline feud, he's going to need people on his side too. It would be a little weird if it's the Usos right away, just because of everything that's happened.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jacob Fatu is the meanest, wildest looking, dirtiest, fucking craziest, most impressive one of all these other guys are clean as shit, right? And they're groomed and they don't scare people. Jacob Fatu's scary.
What would worry me is this. Right now it's working, and Heyman's playing his role really well. But if you add another guy that audience has never seen before, all of a sudden you have a stable of 3 relative unknowns to that audience, and one guy who's only been there a little while.
Yes.
You know, I almost feel like Jacob Fatu could get lost in that a little more than he could if he was just there with someone who had a little more...
Well, that's why I'm saying he should have already been introduced in this mix rather than these other 2 guys. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I would have shown him the most impressive Samoan first. And nobody has raised the opinion that Tama Tonga or Tonga Loa or Solo, either one is more impressive, especially on first look when you don't know what to expect, than Jacob Fatu.
And again, now we have 2 of Haku's sons as part of the bloodline that makes you think maybe there's a chance Haku will be involved in some way. Not that he's going to wrestle, but just as a character in the overall arc.
Well, we'll know if people start walking around with missing noses. That must mean Haku's close.
That was Jim that said that, Haku, if you're listening.
Al, we love each other.